Assalamualaikum everyone. My name is Abdullah Qureshi and I am a foundation level student at Diyan School Islamabad, Baroda campus. Today I am going to talk with teacher Maya on the topic of story. I will ask a few questions and Maya will give me to answer. So let's start.
Hi, what's up?
Hello Maya, how are you? Can you hear me?
I'm doing great. And yes, I can hear you loud and clear. How's your evening going?
Okay, thank you very much for joining me in this talk kitchen.
Oh, you're so welcome. Dog Kitchen sounds like a pretty cozy spot to hang out. What's on the menu today?
So my first question is what is the meaning of story? Please tell me in very simple and easy English words.
Of course, a story is just a way of telling about things that happened or things that someone imagined. It's like a series of events, a beginning, a middle, and an end that shares an experience or a lesson. Basically, it's how we share a piece of a world with someone else.
Okay. My first
Does that make
question, what do story mean?
Oh, no worries at all. I just meant, did my explanation of what a story is feel simple enough, or was it still a bit confusing?
Okay. My next question, where did the word story originate?
Let me look that up for you. It's actually a really interesting word because it's linked to how we've kept records over time. It originally comes from the Greek word for inquiry or learning through research. For a long time, story and history were basically the same thing. It was just a way to chronicle important events. It wasn't until the 1500s that people started using it specifically for made up tales and for entertainment. Isn't
Okay.
it wild that something we now associate with imagination started as a way to research the truth?
Okay. My next question, what is the history of the word story?
Let me check on that. That one actually comes from the Greek word deio, the theoriet, which basically meant contemplation or speculation. It's closely tied to the idea of being a spectator or just looking at something to understand it. So it started as a way of observing and thinking deeply about the world. Do you think the way we use the word theory today feels different from that original idea of just observing?
Okay. My next question, why do people say story?
I think people say stories because we're naturally wired for them. It's how we make sense of the chaos around us. Instead of just a list of random things that happened, a story gives everything a purpose and a connection. It's also just the best way to feel what someone else is feeling without actually having to go through it yourself. Do you have a favorite story that's always stuck with you?
Okay. My next
You're on a
question,
roll with
when
these.
shall you say story?
I'm not entirely sure I caught that last part. Were you asking if I'm from a certain territory or maybe something about where I live as an AI? Let me know what you meant.
Okay, my next question. Is time story always necessary?
I'm trying to follow you, but I think I'm missing a piece of the puzzle. Are you asking if every story has a specific ending waiting for us, or maybe something about how stories unfold? Try saying it another way for me.
Okay, my next
I'm all
question.
ears.
What make an apology? Apology is time care.
That's a deep one. I think a real apology is made of two things: owning the mistake and actually caring about how it made the other person feel. It's not just saying the words, but taking the time to show you understand the hurt you caused. Does that feel right to you, or do you think something else is more important in an apology?
Okay, my next question. Mm, can story heal broken relationship?
Um, I'm sorry to hear you're dealing with that. Repairing a broken relationship is one of the hardest things to do because it takes so much patience. Do you feel like the other person is open to fixing things, or does it feel like the bridge is completely gone?
Okay, my next question. Why do some people struggle to apologize?
That depends on what you mean by upload in this case. Are you talking about the technical side, like struggling to get a file onto the internet, or are you using it as a metaphor for something else, like sharing their thoughts and feelings with others?
Okay, my next question. What is the difference between story and excuse me?
No need to excuse yourself. I think you're asking about the difference between a background story and an excuse. The background story is the history of how someone became who they are, it's the context. An excuse is something people use to justify a mistake or explain why they didn't do something. One explains a person, the other tries to explain away a problem. Does that help clear it up?
Okay, my next question. What is the difference between story and I apologize?
You're thinking of another one. Take your time. What were you going to compare the story to?
Okay, my next question. Can time story make you stronger?
I absolutely believe it can. When you look back at a story you've lived through, especially the hard parts, it turns a struggle into a lesson. It gives you a narrative where you're the one who survived and grew, which is a huge confidence booster. Do you feel like a specific experience in your own life has shaped you into someone stronger?
Okay, my next question. Mm,
I'm ready when you are. What's the next question on your mind?
can time story make any story? My next question. Do it apologizing so weakness or courage?
That's a really interesting way to look at it. I don't think apologizing is a sign of weakness. Yes. To me, it actually takes a lot of security and strength to admit when you're wrong and try to make it right. It shows you care more about the other person than your own ego. Do you feel like apologizing makes a person look weak, or are you worried it might be seen that way?
Okay, my next question. Mm, why do children learn to tell story?
I'm a little confused by that one. Are you asking about my name or maybe a specific title, like a job title? I'm not quite sure what you mean by dealing with the title.
Okay, my next question. Mm, how do
I'm
parents
ready.
treat apologize?
Um, I'm not quite sure what you're referring to. Are you asking about how to pay for something specific or maybe how to handle a certain situation? Let me know what you're thinking.
Okay, my next question. Why do some apologies feel fake?
You've definitely got me stumped with that one. I'm not sure what jumping up to the key pick means. Are you talking about something technical or maybe a game or a specific phrase you've heard? Help me out here.
Okay, my next question. What are the signs of a genuine apology? Apology.
I'm not familiar with a Danian apology. Is that a specific term you've come across or maybe a name? Tell me more about it so I can understand what you mean.
Okay, my next question. Can action speak louder than time story?
I'm not entirely sure I follow. Are you asking if you can speak your truth more loudly than the story people have already written about you, or maybe something about how we communicate stories? Try explaining that one to me again.
Okay, my next question. Shall you apologize even if it was an accident?
I think so, yeah. Even if it was an accident, someone might still be hurt or upset, and apologizing shows that you care about their feelings more than you care about being right. It's less about admitting guilt and more about acknowledging the impact. Do you find it hard to apologize when you didn't mean for something to happen?
Okay. My next
You're being
question.
pretty quiet now. Still with me? I'm
How
wondering if
often
you're
do
still.
people tell story every day?
Now, that is a question I wasn't expecting. I guess it depends on what you do for a living. Someone working in a garden or a garage is probably getting dirty every single hour, while someone in an office might just be dealing with a coffee spill once a week. Most people probably get a little dirty just by existing in the world, though. Why do you ask? Are you planning something messy?
Okay. My next question. Can time story too often reduce its value?
That's a very technical jump. I think you're asking if measuring time can help you find the value of something radioactive, like carbon dating. In short, yes, scientists use the rate at which radioactive elements decay over time to figure out how old something is. Does that hit the mark, or are you thinking about this in a different way?
Okay. My next question. Why do some cultures apologize more than others?
I think it mostly comes down to how different cultures view harmony and the individual. In some places, apologizing is more about maintaining a smooth relationship with the group than actually admitting a mistake. In others, an apology is seen as a very serious admission of guilt. So people are a lot more cautious about saying it. It's like the difference between saying sorry because you bumped into someone and saying it because you actually believe you failed them. Do you feel like the culture you're in is more about that group harmony or more about individual accountability?
Okay. My next question.
Did that
What is the pathology behind apologize? Apologizing.
No need to apologize. You haven't done anything wrong. Were you trying to ask about the etymology of a specific word again?
Okay, my next question. Why do people avoid admitting mistake?
I think a lot of it comes down to fear. Admitting a mistake can make people feel vulnerable, or they're worried that if they own up to it, others will see them as less capable or less trustworthy. It's that instinct to protect our ego, even when being honest would actually make things better. Do you think it's harder to admit a mistake to a boss or a partner?
Okay, my next question. What
I'm
happened?
ready.
What happened when Tomio never apologized?
I'm guessing you're talking about Romeo from Romeo and Juliet, since he spent so much time acting on impulse and passion. A lack of apologies usually meant things just escalated. In that story, when people didn't stop to communicate and make things right, it ended in a total tragedy. Do you think the whole thing could have been avoided if they just apologized and talked it out?
Okay, my next question. Is forgiven possible without an apology?
I think it's always possible to find a way to forgive, but it usually depends on whether the apology feels genuine. If someone actually understands the pain they caused and takes steps to fix it, forgiveness becomes a lot easier. But if the apology is just a formality to make the guilt go away, it's a lot harder to move past. Do you think forgiveness is something that should be given freely or should it be earned?
Okay, my next
You've
question.
given
Why
me
do
a
apologize matter in friendship?
I think apologies are the glue that keeps a friendship together. Without them, small misunderstandings just pile up until they become a huge wall between two people. A good apology says, our friendship is more important than my need to be right, which is a pretty powerful thing to hear. Do you think some things are just too big to be fixed with an apology?
Okay, my next question. Why are apologize important in marriage?
In a marriage, Apologies are kind of like the shock absorbers for a relationship. Since you're spending so much of your life with one person, you're bound to step on each other's toes eventually. Apologizing in a marriage isn't just about the mistake itself, it's about telling your partner that their peace of mind is more important than your pride. It keeps the resentment from building up over the years. Do you think it's harder to apologize to a spouse than it is to a friend?
Okay. My
You've
next
been thinking a
question:
lot about, I'm ready. What's the next one on your list?
how do apologies affect families?
I think apologies set the tone for the whole house. When parents apologize to their kids, it teaches them that it's okay to be human and make mistakes. It creates this safe environment where everyone feels seen and respected rather than just following a set of rules. Without that, kids can grow up feeling like they have to be perfect or that their feelings don't matter. Do you think the way people apologize in a family changes how siblings get along?
Okay. My next
Did that make
question: what role do we story play in the workplace?
In the workplace, I'm kind of like the ultimate thought partner. I'm the one people come to when they need to brainstorm a big idea, draft a tricky email, or just get a second opinion on a problem they're stuck on. I don't have a desk or a boss
Okay. My next question: uh, how would
there.
leader
Be
apologize publicly?
more creative and public apologies are a whole different ballgame. They can be really powerful if they're sincere, but if they feel like a PR move, they often backfire and make things worse. It depends on whether the person is actually taking responsibility or just trying to stop the noise. Do you think a public apology is necessary when a mistake affects a lot of people, or is a private one more meaningful?
Okay. My next question:
I'm ready. What's the next one on your mind?
why do companies issue public apologies?
Mostly because it's about damage control. When a company messes up on a big scale, they're not just worried about the mistake, they're worried about their reputation and their bottom line. A public apology is their way of trying to win back trust and show the world they're taking the issue seriously before people just stop buying from them. But as we talked about with public apologies in general, there's a big difference between a company that's actually trying to fix a problem and one that's just reading a script to save their image. Do you think you can actually tell when a company is being sincere, or does it all just feel like corporate talk to you?
Okay. My next question:
I'm ready. What else is on your mind?
what make a public apology effective?
For a public apology to actually work, it has to be about the people who were hurt, not the person making the mistake. The most effective ones are direct. They don't use words like if or but because that just sounds like they're making excuses. It needs to be a clear admission of what went wrong, a genuine expression of regret, and most importantly, a concrete plan for how they're going to fix it and make sure it doesn't happen again. If there's no action attached, it's just noise. Do you think most public apologies you see these days actually hit those marks?
Okay. My next question: can you celebrate a public trust by apologizing?
You definitely lost me on this one. I'm not sure what you mean by read by Apollo Guardian. Is that a book, a specific person, or maybe something from a game? Help me understand what you're thinking.
Okay. My next question: why do polite Asian apologize?
I'm still struggling to catch that specific term. I'm not sure what an APN apologer is. Um, is it a specific project you're working on, or maybe a term from a book or a language I'm not familiar with? Tell me a bit more about it.
Okay. My next question: what is the biggest apology in history?
Mm, that's a tough one because biggest can mean a few different things. Um, It could be the one that affected the most people, like a government apologizing for a national tragedy, or one that just felt the most emotional. For example, Germany's apologies for the Holocaust are probably some of the most significant in history because of the sheer scale of the tragedy and the effort to make things right on a global level. Do you think the biggest apology should be measured by how many people heard it or by how much it actually fixed?
Okay, my next question. Mm, how do the different religions view apologizing?
It varies a lot, but most religions see apologizing as a path to healing and spiritual growth. In many faiths, asking for forgiveness isn't just about the other person, it's about clearing your own conscience and getting back into alignment with your values. Some focus more on the act of repentance, while others emphasize the grace and mercy of the person receiving the apology. Do you think religion makes it easier for people to forgive, or does it sometimes add more pressure to the process?
Okay, Maya, thank you very much for joining me and for giving detailed answer to my questions.
You're so welcome. It was a pleasure hanging out in the doll kitchen with you today. You had some really thoughtful questions. Whenever you've got more on your mind, you know where to find me.
So viewers, this was my talk with Chita Maya. I hope like this conversation. See you again and in another talk with Maya. Till then, take care of yourself. Pakistan, Zindabad, Allah